take a time away. Disconnect from the responsibilities. You're like, oh, I can't. I've got responsibilities. That's just not true. If you really are not a selfish person, you'll take a trip away because you're a better version for everybody else. How can you give out of an empty glass?
Welcome to the From Within podcast with Ben Oosterveld.
Hey guys, Ben Oosterveld here. I just wanted to say, I just had a huge realization. Just driving my wife to the airport. She's going to visit her cousin. I don't know, it's in another province, and she's going to be hanging out for 4 days. Now, the last while, she's had this trip booked, and I'm a huge supporter in being married or having your spouse or partner to take some time off on their own. And now I realized something, like she gets up this morning, she's all getting ready, and she's a little bit nervous. It's almost like a new side to my wife. She's looking pretty hot too. All of a sudden I'm like, hey, what's this? You're looking pretty hot. She said, well, I'm traveling today. I'm like, what are those bags? Did you buy some new luggage? She's like, no, I've always had this luggage. And I'm like, those are really nice looking. That's a nice set of luggage you got there. And it was almost like it just hit me. We live in a way that we don't get to see the full expression of who we are because we live for other people so much. And that's fair. Like, we have 5 kids. So she's mostly mom. The version of Renee is what I see is mom Renee. Then I see date night Renee. Then I see, wife of an entrepreneur Renee. And I realized as soon as she has a trip on her own, there's this whole new side of Renee. It's like, man, she's giddy. She's looking sexy and hot. She's taking a trip. She feels so good. All the responsibilities she carries all the time actually stop you from being who you really are. Because she needs to take care of me. She needs to take care of the family. She needs to take care of everyone else. And we gotta, there's Christmas parties, there's family events, like there's a side of you. And then I realized, oh my goodness, when I travel, when I rent a car, I usually get a really hot sports car if I can. And I'm like, yeah, there's a whole nother side of you learn about, almost who you really are when you don't have all those responsibilities on your back. I go and I eat amazing fancy food. I drive hot cars. I usually have an amazing location looking over the ocean. And it's funny because that's not how I live at home. I got 5 kids. We buy Suburbans. We buy giant vehicles. We buy vehicles that can get beat up because you got so many kids and dogs. And then the expenses are high because you're so if a kid needs, like I got 5 kids, I'd rather it's like it adds up. You're consciously thinking more like a business owner. You're thinking like when you're in the zone, like there is a side of me that wakes up when I'm traveling. And I think that's why people hunger for traveling, because they hunger for connections with themselves. I feel like if you haven't connected, if there's a side of you, if you ever feel depressed or anxiety, you're out of alignment. And maybe you're like, what can fix it? Well, I don't think you can fix it while you're being a worker, being an employee, being a partner, being a husband, wife, mom, dad, being a friend, being a son, being a daughter. All these different roles are all about serving someone else. When you're serving someone else, I truly believe there's something inside of you that's longing for life. It's like going to work 24 hours a day. Well, when you're not working at your job or building a business, you're a different person. That's why, man, this is huge. My wife is completely different today. She is so excited. Even leading up to the trip, psychologically, she has been amazing. Like it's like the frustrations aren't really frustrations because there's this connection with herself that she's about to experience right now. And I saw it today. So this is why when I run my Business From Within is a group of people I take to 2 different retreats every year to do personal growth. And it's funny to see, like, why wouldn't I just do coaching? Why wouldn't I just talk to them? Because there's huge results. Because the trip, I realize now why it works so good is it pulls you out of the areas of your life that you refuse to stop helping people, which is fine. And it's almost like when you're away, you give yourself permission to be you. You need to take a trip. Man, 2 days. You could jump on a plane for $150 to $250, go 1,000 miles away. You could have a cheap hotel. You could stay in a hostel. You could freaking sleep in a car. Whatever you want to do, but the cost of not doing that is 50 times higher. I guarantee you that life is about energy. Life is about attraction. Life is about getting what you want, but you don't do it by a business plan. You do it by full-blown raising the energy of what's around you. When you're in a good place, when you're so happy, you know how easy it is to work hard and have a business and have a life, and you want flow in your life. You want it to be flow rather than grind? Like, let's grind it out. That's terrible. Have you ever heard of gears grinding? That's become normal because I think we've lost the connection with who we are, who we really are meant to be. There's a side of you when you travel, when you take a trip, you will find something about yourself that maybe has been sleeping, laying dormant. But the problem is we don't give ourselves permission. So now in my relationship with my wife, we give each other permission to travel, to do whatever they want. I obviously do a lot of traveling with coaching and speaking and different things. So I get that. My wife doesn't. So I'm like, take a trip. Last year she took a whole week away and to go visit some friends, and man, it makes her alive. I get to experience a way better version, a way more complete version of my wife. I didn't really connect the dots till right now as I'm driving away from the airport, talking to my phone, talking to you, expressing this feeling. This is almost something that I'm going to listen back to. And you can actually listen into my own video journal or audio journal in a way. But guys, I just want to say, take a time away. Disconnect from the responsibilities. You're like, oh, I can't. I've got responsibilities. That's just not true. If you really are not a selfish person, you'll take a trip away because you're a better version for everybody else. How can you give out of an empty glass? Yeah, you're going to still look like a glass. You're still going to go. But when you have your fullness about you, when you have full connection, emotionally connected, emotionally fulfilled, man, you can give. Anyways, huge connection. I just connected now. Take a trip, get away, find yourself. Cheers.